Think about it. All that Dr. King did not become personified and lifted until after he died.
Amen.
And I asked the Lord, sitting there, why is it? And the Lord spoke to me and said, because the job of a good pastor that's called to lead the church through metamorphosis, because that's what's happening now. And I can only imagine if you have been in the Church of Jesus Christ, any particular point in time, we're shifting. There's a shifting happening.
Yes, Lord.
And all of the accoutrements that we were given to measure effective ministry by has shifted before our very eyes.
Yes.
Come on, do I have any witnesses? Think about it. Everything that we have been trained and conditioned throughout the years to see as effective ministry has turned on top of itself. People don't come to church like they used to. People don't give like they used to. People don't sow like they used to. Are you hearing what I'm saying? Churches don't thrive like they used to, because what people are identifying with more so now is spirituality and not Christianity. And it takes a skilled leader to know his or her own worth in the midst of transition. The Lord spoke to me and said, it's likened unto the ministry of cleaning up after birth. I want you to think about it. I'm going to preach, but just think about it. After the baby is born, mamas and daddies give honor to the doctor, and they'll even celebrate the midwives. But think about how many times the person who had the trivial task of cleaning up the afterbirth, they are with the travailing mother doing the messiest of times. They are with the travailing mother doing the points of time where life is being pushed out. And if it's not for their ministry, that which was inside the mother would infect the baby. You better. I came to talk, but don't nobody call the name of the one who cleaned the afterbirth. But you try having a baby without getting rid of afterbirth. Can you hear me in here? You try building a ministry without a pastor who can get messy with you and who can understand you in your messy times. Look at your neighbor and say it wasn't all clean. Come on now, we celebrate the clean version of ministry on anniversary time, but 31 years, you ain't had all clean days. But you had the kind of leader who didn't throw in the towel in your messiness, who didn't stop loving you through your messiness. Look at your neighbor and say, neighbor, I am. Because somebody else remained the same even when I wasn't. You are powerful now, but you didn't start that way. You are anointed now, but you didn't start that way. You came in here broke, busted, disgusted, tore down, and turning tricks. But look at you now, because somebody invested in you. And they may never call his name, and they may never tell the story in the way that the magnitude should be felt. But you should know it. Lord, I thank you for the kind of leader. Come on, glory to glory. Do I have any witnesses in the house? The reality is that everybody can't lead people during transition. People show up in your becoming, and they show up on your stage. Don't you ever marry somebody who showed up in the last act of your life. You need somebody who knew what you looked like in the intermission. Come on, how am I doing? You need somebody who understands you when your breath is stank and breadcrumbs is in your eyes. Come on. You need somebody who didn't turn against you when you had nothing to offer. Because those are the ones that God calls to lead you through transition. The church we know now will never be what it was before. I'm going to say it again. The church we know now will never be. And a bishop and a leader like Wyatt Greenlee is called to pastor grieving people who remember the nostalgia of what was. Bishop Flunder says it this way: until God takes you completely out of what was, God cannot deliver you to what's next.
Yes, yes,
Come on. Can I just talk for about 2 more minutes and then I'll preach? It is the dangerous part between the what's was and the what's next that our presiding bishop calls the free fall. And the free fall is the scariest moments in ministry because the free fall feels like failure. How am I doing? The free fall feels like rejection. The free fall is when you have left what was but hadn't quite gotten delivered to what's next. And everybody around you is looking as you fall, because when you are in the free fall, you have to trust God that the hand of God will catch you before you make a mess. Aren't you? High five your neighbor and say, God's got me. God's got me. I don't know what 10 more years will look like for glory to glory, but what I do know is he who began a good work in you. You don't want to help me today. It's not temperamental or fickle, but faithful.
Yes, my Savior.
To complete it. So I come today to say thank you.
Thank you, my Savior.
I come to honor a general in the faith.
Yes, sir.
I come to say that my story and your story is intricately connected to the impartation that this bishop has made to us. What he didn't say is when I started, been preaching for 27 years.
All right.
I came out and lost everything. Vowed I would never preach again.
Wow.
And I'm not one of these preachers that don't work because we don't want to work. I've always had several jobs because I like to spend money. Are you hearing what I'm saying? And I don't need no sugar daddies. I need to be able to write my own check. Grandmama said, oh, no man, nothing but to love him. That's what I'm telling you. Thanks be to God. But what happened for me, I went back to work. And I'll never forget, Bishop Flunder and Mother Miller took me out to dinner and said, baby, it had to die. Because if your ministry didn't die, God could not raise it in resurrection power. She looked at me across the table and said, God will give you back everything that you gave me. I couldn't believe it. I was so broken.
My Lord.
And oftentimes I was on the road with Bishop Flunder and Bishop Greenlee and didn't have enough money in my pocket to buy food.
Sir.
I'm going to tell my whole story.
Tell it.
Bishop Greenlee told the nice version of it.
Yeah.
I was broke.
Yeah.
With bishops who were able to eat wherever they wanted to eat, and I had no money. And I cannot tell you the number of times
My Lord.
when I was going to drink water and eat bread,
Sir.
Bishop Greenlee leaned over and said, order it, it's on me. I can't tell you the number of times where we had conferences across this country and I didn't have enough money to buy my own hotel room. And Bishop Greenlee said, if you just get there, we'll get a double room and you can come sleep in my room.
Amen. All right.
My vow is for as long as I have breath in my body and as long as I am humanly able, he'll never have to want for anything as long as it's in my power. Because those are the people, are you hearing what I'm saying?
Yes.
Those are the people who believed in Troy before there was a bishop-elect or a pastor Troy. And I can't tell you, and he did it with grace to cover me. Nobody knew it. Come on now. I'm not the only one who did that kind of thing. Nobody knew it. Nobody knew. He wasn't them kind of people who paid my bill and then told everybody, you know I got Troy here and I made sure that he ate. He wasn't that kind of, and then would put a piece of money in my pocket. Bishop Flunder and Bishop Greenlee I consider to be parents in ministry because they believed in me into my becoming. So I'm here to celebrate because I understand that it is a poor frog, my grandmama said, that don't praise his or her own pond. While everybody else is celebrating names all over this country for fickle, no integrity leaders, we ought to be able to celebrate a man who walks the walk. Now put your hands together and stand up for your feet. And honor God. And remember, his yes unlocked the way for your life and celebration. Thank you. Now to the word of the Lord. Come on. Thank you, Jesus. I give honor to God. I give honor to our presiding bishop and to Pastor Dakita and to Pastor Ralph and to all of you in your respective places. All of you visitors, thank God for each and every one of you. Thank you for your gracious hospitality. The family in Atlanta sends their love and their gratitude. They wanted to be here so bad, but I told them if they could raise budget, then they could come go with me, but they didn't do it. So they're at home having church. How about that? Amen. I want to turn your attention to the Gospel of Matthew very quickly.
Yes.
Musicians still here? Yes, sir. I was a young boy, and I remember they sung this song, Bishop. I'll go. Some of you may not remember it. I'll go. I'll go. Somebody remembers that. I'll go. If the Lord need somebody. Here am I. Oh Lord, send me. I'm gonna sing it one more time. I may be young,
But I'll go.
hallelujah. I'll go. I'm a country boy. That's how they sung it in the country. I may be young, but I'll go. And if the Lord needs somebody, here am I. Oh Lord, send me. Matthew chapter 4. I'm leaving it on because I feel something stirring. It feels like church to me. Matthew chapter 4. Your theme is reflected in verses 1 through 4. I'll read from the King James Version for familiarity's sake. It says this: Then Jesus was led up by the Spirit into the wilderness to be tempted of the devil. And when he had fasted 40 days and 40 nights, afterwards he was hungry. And when the tempter came to him, he said, If thou be the Son of God, command these stones be made bread. But Jesus answered and said, It is written, man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceedeth out of the mouth of God. I want to preach from the subject today: look, be led, and live. Look, be led, and live. Sisters and brothers, the text opens in a particularly peculiar way. It does not, however, open unto us, giving us a lot of background information as to who the pivotal figure is known as the tempter or the devil. But it does, however, open unto us with a term that signifies kairos moments and divine timing. It is the then in the text. The text says, and then Jesus was led. The then in the text signifies that it all by itself, it infers that some generalities that would suit us well if we understood. Let me tell you what the then in the text tells us. The then in the text highlights that this event didn't happen in the beginning phases of Jesus' ministry. The then in the text helps us to understand that this was not at the beginning or the opening of Jesus' ministry. The then shows us that the presupposition of the text is that if you're going to get called into the wilderness of life and ministry to be tempted, you better do it with some significant experiential contextualization. Can I talk about it? Yes. Too many believers would want to climb the lofty experiences of life and ministry without going through the prerequisite process of time that helps to undergird them in such times in ministry. What I'm really trying to say is that you better not get on the forefront of your ministry until you've had time to try out what God has called you to. Look at your neighbor and say, try it out. Believers, I understand that this is anniversary and you do want to go probably eat, so I'm not going to hold you long, but I'd like to lift up three movements in the text: the look, the be led, and the live. Look at your neighbor and say the look, the be led, and the live. One more time. If I was at Rehoboth, I'd say the look, the be led, and the live. I want to talk about the look in the text. We don't quite know what form the devil took on in order to test Jesus. Nor do we know the mechanism or the methodology the tempter utilizes in order to impress such an optical illusion upon the Savior. You was in my text. Yes. What is significant about the temptation is often used to anchor all of us. Two things are significant about the temptation that Jesus had with the devil. The first thing the devil does is says, I want you to look out. Look at your neighbor and say, look out. Look out. In essence, what the tempter was tempting Jesus with is often the two things we are tempted with. What you long for, number one, and what you would like to achieve in your life. Come on now, I know it's quiet, but the reality is that you can celebrate and shout with everybody else, but what keeps us awake at night are connected to those two things: what we long for and what we look to achieve. Anybody have any longings in your life? Yes, it's okay. I'm not saying it in a bad way. We all have things we long for and other things that we look to achieve. The look in the text says the tempter came to Jesus in a high place and offered him a peep, a glimpse, a bird's eye view, if you will. The look itself offered Jesus a capture, a picture of what was to come. Can I tell you, the look in ministry can be dangerous and quite misleading. Somebody says, Troy, how can the look be dangerous? You know folk who spend a large amount of time mastering the good look, but when you engage them, you soon realize that the look was a facade for something that they did not possess. You know what I'm talking about. In essence, things can look good, but Torah inside is nothing. The truth is, Jesus gets a bird's eye view of his ministry, but Jesus does not birth ministry on a bird's eye view. Can I just take a sidebar here and tell you, never make a move, pursue a call, or birth a ministry with only a bird's eye view. You want to know what bird's eye view look like in 21st century ministry? A prophetic word. Everybody named mama got a prophetic word now. Seems to me that God don't talk to nobody but the prophets. Can I talk? Oh, get in trouble. How is it? How come? That's what my grandmama would say. How come your life is in such shambles, but you can spend all that time hearing what God's telling me? How come your children are baby kids, junior, and you trying to tell me what God said? Maybe you need to take the time you are taking to listen to my history and my ministry and find out some direction for us. How am I doing in this house? Look at your neighbor and say, don't be fazed by the look. We are living in a day and age where you can buy the look offline. You can feel the look. Oh, you better hear me. But it takes something more than just a bird's eye view to build ministry. Now, I'm only 4 years into this thing as a pastor, but what I know is that you better be careful about people who push you in your back saying do, because them same folk you're going to be looking for and nowhere to be found. Church folk will talk in your ear, but then, I don't need no fighters. Come on now, I got some fighters in the room. I need the kind of fighters, not the ones that just talk a lot, but I need the ones that carry switchblades in their teeth and have Vaseline in their pocketbooks. Why are you talking?
That's a good fight.
good
The
fight.
reality is a bird's eye view, believers, might give you what you think you want, but surely it won't give you the how and the when. A bird's eye view might tell you about the what, but God doesn't specialize in just the what's of our lives. Oftentimes we have clear what, but God often reveals over time the when and the how. Anybody ever got trapped into telling God yes based on the what? And didn't know that the what had to be baptized in tribulation. The what had to be washed in persecution. Can I talk about it? The what had to be marred and frayed and torn apart over time, because the what is often the thing that gets us excited, but the how and the when. The how and the when takes time. The how and the when requires maturity, which is the reason why the scripture says that Jesus didn't just have the look on the mountain, but Jesus was led. I wish I had time to talk about being led, because many times we think we are being led, but the scripture says, my sheep know my voice. And maybe we're not really sheep, which is why we really don't know the voice. But what I know is that you know, like I know, when we were growing up, your mama didn't have to be outside, but your mama's voice went outside. And when you heard your mama's voice, you knew that you had to come in, because it was come on here. It is very important in this 21st century that we understand the principles of being led. Jesus, being fully human and fully divine, was led into the wilderness by the Spirit to be tempted of the devil. Now, if I had time, I would preach a revival message on that. That many of the things we call the devil is actually us being led by the Spirit into the wilderness. You thought that marriage was going to be forever, but that was God leading you into the wilderness. Yes. Come on, keep looking straight and won't nobody know I'm talking about you. The reality is that you didn't learn your best lessons in your successes in life. Oh, but it's through the failures. Anybody know what I'm talking about? It's through that bad credit and bankruptcy. It's through those lost friends and lonely nights. Can I preach like I feel it? High five your neighbor and say, excuse me, honey, but I just got to give God glory for the failures in my life. Breakdowns, breakups, and shattered my faith, but it raised up courage in me. You don't know God until you learn God in the night season. You don't have a right to shout until you've been a day late and $1 short on a bill or two. You don't have the unmitigated goal to give God glory until you have been in a place where doctors have looked you in your face and said, there is nothing I can do for you. Do I have those kind of praises? See, it's those kind of praises that are dangerous, because they don't need no Hammond organ or no drums. It is those kind of praises, because those kind of praises don't wait for the 2 and the 4. The matter of fact is, if you don't move your purse, whatever's in it's gonna get broke. Because when I think of the goodness, how God brought me, where God kept me from, some of the things I was on my way to do, and the Lord led. Anybody know anything about the leading of the Lord? High five your neighbor one more time. Yes, I like to make you talk. And said, God led me. There were some things I wanted to do. There were some plans I had already conjured up in my mind. Oh, but when I went to do it, God led me. Have you ever been on your way to trouble? Made a date with trouble? Reserved a hotel room for trouble? And drank trouble, smoked trouble, and laid with trouble? But somewhere while you were in trouble, figuratively and literally, God led. I'm so thankful for the leading of God, because some things I would have messed up if it had not been for God shutting my plan down. Many are the plans of a man. I thought I was in a sanctified church. Many are the plans of Brother, sit down. I'm just talking. I hasten to add that being led by God will cost you something. I hasten to add that when you really want to be led by God, God will lead you past popularity into seasons of isolation. How am I doing? God will lead you past what seems to be worldly successes and teaches you that what you thought you needed to survive was only a facade. Come on, think about your life. There were many things you thought you could not do without. But the truth is, your life looks better. Your walk feels better. Your conversation is better. Now that you have downsized, high five your neighbor and say the downsize of life. Everybody's trying to upgrade. But I'm looking for the God of the downsize. Because oftentimes you can have a lot of folk, and with a lot of folk come a lot of trouble, a lot of mess. But when you downsize, it makes you contemplate what is essential and non-essential. Can I talk about it? And when you really have to downsize without planning for a downsize, things that once were in the essential category often move by themselves into being led might not get you invited to a popular gathering.
That's all right.
Because God often leads us to choices and decisions that we in and of ourselves would never have decided. What career would you be in if it had not been for the leading of the Lord? What place would you be in if it had not been for the lead? Can I talk to the preachers in the room? The calling of God will upset your career plan. And pastoring God people will make you think twice about everything you heard. Can I talk about it? There is something to be said about people who inevitably and eventually are led into the wilderness experiences of life. Yes. I wish I could tell you that if you love God, speak the truth, live holy, pray every day, that you will have your abode in mountaintop experiences. But the truth is, just because you're anointed means you're going to go through some valleys. Just because grandmama prayed, Lord, put a hook in him and don't let him go back even when he wants to. Come on now. Some of us, it ain't even, we are the living, breathing realities of a contract that had nothing to do with us.
Yeah.
Come on, it was between Big Mama and God when Big Mama was on a fast. And here I am 42 years later. Are you hearing what I'm saying? I'm living because Big Mama told God, if you give me a child, then I'll raise my child in the nurture and ammunition of God, and the hand of the Lord bypass your bad mouth cousins and your ugly siblings and found you. Stop telling this lie that you found the Lord. The devil is a liar. You didn't find God. God found you while you was on the dance floor with weed in one hand and Cavassier in the other. You gotta hear me. You know God was wooing you while you were still drinking and dropping it like it was hot. Some of y'all got to remember a long time ago, but you remember your milkshake brought all the boys to. Yes.
Gone and so. That's the story. That's the real story. Yes.
You know you are mature.
Yeah.
When you can shout
all that good
and
weed.
thank God for wilderness.
I never smoked it.
Oh, you know you're growing. When you learn how to find God even in the stormy moments of your life. Can I tell you, I heard Tracy's testimony and my mind went back because it was not when God gave me what I asked for when I asked for it that I learned to appreciate the value of patience. It was when I had to go without and wonder, are you even hearing me, Lord? Anybody ever been there? It is when I had to contemplate and rearrange my faith and make room for my shortcomings and disappointments. Seminary teaches us how to succeed. But church don't teach us how to sit in disappointment. So we wear this facade as if God has done everything we've asked God to do. When many of us are so bitter with our own disappointments that we can't even lift our hands anymore. Because church teaches you how to be a hypocrite, but don't teach you how to stand in the truth. It took everything I had just to get in here, and now you want me to shout? It took everything I had just to get to the church, and you want me to stand up, praise God? Have you ever been in a season where you didn't want to hear no thanks be to God? You didn't want to hear no no, if you can't come through from a light bill, I ain't talking about no Jaguar. If you can't make a way from a rent, I ain't talking about no diamond bracelet or banglet. If you can't give me food to eat. Believers, everybody has a spiritual experience. And everybody goes through the wilderness. Everybody goes through the wilderness. In essence, though, you have to be careful who you choose to go through the wilderness with.
That is correct.
Because there are people who serve you well when you're in your mountaintops.
Yes.
In the come on now. As long as you paying for the drinks, as long as you paying for the gas, as long as you paying for the meal, come on. But when you hit hard times, can you rely on those? And so, my sisters and brothers, because I was trained appropriately, back in the text, Jesus sits us slap dab in the middle of the final critical and pivotal question. Jesus, the Savior, allows us to have a first-class type of ticket with the journey of the wilderness. Jesus, can I talk about it? Jesus codifies for us the essence of our faith. In essence, Jesus looks at the tempter as the tempter teaches Jesus one thing. In essence, the question that Jesus is confronted with is the final portion of the pericope of Scripture. I'd like to place it before you today and then take my seat. Jesus has to sit with the critical question that millions of believers still struggle to answer today. The critical question that seminary, theological training, ordination, installation, and consecration cannot answer. This is the question of life. Do you want breadcrumbs or do you want to live? In essence, do you want the breadcrumbs of life or do you really want to live? In essence, what Jesus was being offered was breadcrumbs. But Jesus had an understanding, an enlightenment that after all, you can be a preacher, you can be a pastor, you can be a prophet, a teacher, a bishop, prayer warrior, or a singer, and still be struggling and surviving on breadcrumbs. In essence, you can sit with the truth of this temptation, but you've got to openly answer the question, what are you hungry for? Can I talk in here? The reality is that until you get face to face with what you are really hungry for, oh, y'all ain't never been hungry in here. Lee says you got to get hungry with God. In essence, your decisions will actually give you a bird's eye view into your desires. Are you hearing what I'm saying? Many of us say we want God, but what we really hunger for is attention. Many of us say we are mature, but what we really are thirsty for is to be messy. And when you don't know how to deal with your own passions and desires, your passions and your desires will drive you to make decisions that will be in direct contradiction to what God called you to. Look at your neighbor and say, what are you hungry for? I don't know about you, sisters and brothers, but I'm not hungry just for pomp and circumstance. I didn't come to service week after week just to be self-aggrandized into religiosity in its purest form. But when I come in the house of God, can I talk like I feel it? When I lift up my hands, I'm not doing it to impress you, but I'm like David when David said, my foot almost slipped, but I believe said, man shall not live by bread alone. Can I preach, Bishop? But every word that proceedeth out of the mouth of God. I want to talk about the proceeding word of God, because it's not enough to hear what God said yesterday and make decisions tomorrow, but you got to keep your ear to the throne room of God, because time is filled with swift transitions. Not on earth unmoved can stand. Build your hopes on things eternal. Can I preach just for 2 more minutes? Grab your neighbor and say, hold on to God's unchanging hand. I hear Jesus saying in my mind's eye that if I fall for the trick, I'll be eating fruit from your hand. And my grandmama said, the one who feeds you, you got to pay homage to. The one who feeds you, you got to reverence. That's why it's not good to take handouts from everybody. But you got to learn the one who's called to pour into you, so that when the time comes, ain't nobody can take credit for what God is doing except God and God alone. How about your neighbor say God and God alone? How did you come through glory to glory? 31 years, God and God alone. How did you make it through the transition from new higher height to greater new higher heights? And now glory to glory, God and God alone. Anybody here ever gone through a change? I heard Jesus say, I might be hungry, but I want to live more than I want to eat. And in essence, what I'm saying is that when your passions line up with your purpose, you don't eat at everybody's table. I got to go. But if it was a revival service, I would go higher and tell you it wasn't how Jesus went up on the mountain that was the celebratory moment, but it was what happened that brought him back. I'm not impressed with how you come up on your gift, but I want to see after you have been on the mountain for a while, can you come down and talk to me? I'm not impressed that you speak in tongues all day and pray in 17 different languages, but when I need prayer, when I need a friend, do you know how to talk in layman's terms? This thing called church can give us the opportunity to hide. Because many of us have not discovered who we really are yet.
It's true.
We have become everything everybody else wanted us to be, but have not gotten truthful about our own passions. What drives you? Last thing I'll leave with you. Life requires 3 things. 1, you have to sit with change. I'm going to say it again. You can't live. Everybody know you ain't a size 2 no more.
Watch out.
Except you. Let me free your soul. Go on, give them clothes away. Because you ain't getting back in. Thanks be to God, you got a new robe waiting in glory for you. Because that one you had on when you was in 12th grade, you won't see again. And if you put it on as long pants, by the time it gets up to where it needs to get to, it's going to be cool out. In essence, what I am saying is that everything that stays alive must change. The second thing is that everything that stays alive must remain flexible. Your bones don't break as a child because of the elasticity still in you. Which means that you can fall and then be flexible so that the fall doesn't break you. but try falling at 60.
My Lord.
How much milk you drink? The older you get, the less elasticity that happens. It ain't just your body that don't know how to be flexible. Church folk become more and more inflexible the longer we are in existence. Why? Because the greatest move to tomorrow's move was yesterday's move. And we will build altars commemorating what was. That's true. And fail to seek God for what's next.
Amen.
God knew what God was doing by hiding Moses' body. Because what God knew is that if them Jewish folk would have buried Moses, they would have built a monument and stayed right at Moses' grave because they were so connected to what Moses did. And what God had to do is say, I'm going to bury Moses so that you keep seeking me. Come on now. There are some things you need to give a proper burial to and celebrate it on its way. It served its purpose, but now it's Luther. It's over. Are you hearing what I'm saying? Everything that lives must change. Everything that lives must remain flexible. And everything that lives must stay relevant. Churches today will die if they lose their ability
to be relevant.
You can try taking up offering with checks and cash if you want to.
Right.
You'll never meet your budget.
Never.
Because people don't bring cash
So
to church. And you can sit there on your stool or do nothing and criticize ePay and Cash App and Square and Givelify if you want. But what folk realize, those that know about budget, is that if you don't make it convenient for people to sow, tell you another lesson I learned. Dr. Kenneth L. Samuels taught me.